Hi, I'm Sonia Luna, CEO of Aviva Spectrum. My guest today is Gayle Edwards. Welcome, Gayle.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, Gayle, I'm really, truly excited about this interview because I know our listeners are going to take away important tips on how to automate the financial close with greater efficiency and transparency. And, Gayle, you've seen it, okay? Having seen a pre- and post-financial transformation process with several large and mid-sized companies, can you share with our listeners what are the drivers that cause an implementation process to be longer than it should be?
Really, I think the key here is having 360-degree viewpoints in regards to this, right? When we go through implementations, oftentimes we discover, and CFOs discover, that what they think is happening is usually not exactly what's really happening. And so you run into roadblocks as you kind of say, oh, is that really how you do this? And how can we overcome that? So it's really important to have, team members on your transformation, your implementation team who come from all 360-degree viewpoints, right? They touch it from the very beginning, the end user, all the way up through final analysis and the CFO level. And it's really, really important that you test everything that you put into play, right? So, and the testers need to be all the way up the process line as well. Because you put a good plan in place, but you have to be prepared to be flexible with that as you run into things and say, that's not exactly how this works. How can we make it work better? How can we be more efficient? And ultimately, how can we then get everyone to buy into this change? And that
so
really is kind of one of the keys, right?
So it's getting that 360, getting people involved. Trust but verify, right? It's saying,
exactly.
Really get down to, does this really occur this way, right?
Right.
But in terms of recommendations to a CFO, what would you recommend a CFO to monitor? So let's say they do some of these items that we're talking about, but what should they really monitor so they don't fall into this implementation is taking longer than it should?
I think it's really a testing process. Test along each step of the way, and the CFO should be aware of at what point are things being tested and what are the results of that, and have a good steering session to say, listen, this is what we've run into. We need to make a decision. If we do this, how does this affect everything else? We don't want to create additional stumbling blocks down the line. So we're going to say from this point forward, this report is going to be generated on, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Well, that may not work for, Treasury, who might need that information on Monday. And how does that prevent, additional efficiencies from occurring? So it's really important to thoroughly test the processes that you're going through. And that's why you need everyone's participation, right? Everyone has to be involved in it, and they have to have an opportunity to have their voice heard so that they're not resistant then to the changes that come into play as well. They had an opportunity to speak. Everyone's talked through it, and now we've said, yes, this is going to be the best for every discipline. Here's how it's going to work, and then you'll be able to get a higher adoption rate as you go through the process.
Great. So not only, evaluating those milestones, but when you get to that testing phase, really monitor the outcomes of those tests and make sure, it's producing the results that we wanted, the company wanted to achieve. Now,
exactly.
CFOs, I wanted to get into some numbers because CFOs they're number people, and when CFOs calculate the return on investment, during a financial transformation process, what are you seeing? What are the major considerations they seem to focus their attention on?
When people are talking about ROI, the number one topic that always comes up is the FTE count, right? Did I gain employees? Did I lose employees? Was I able to reduce my workforce? Could I prevent myself from, having additional hires? They look at other things too, right? Did I save postage costs, perhaps storage costs, things of that nature? But the thing that they tend to overlook the most is the quality of the FTE that they're looking at, right? So am I getting what I paid for? I hired an accountant. Do I need an accountant to do this task? Is my accountant doing clerical work, or are they doing true accounting at this point? Are they looking at analysis? I don't need an accountant to sit down and say, did last night's deposit hit the bank, right? The clerk can do that. Or in the case of some of the products we implement, the matching tools can do that, right? It can go through and automatically say, yeah, this is here, this is missing. I don't need an accountant to do that. I need an accountant to find out why that deposit's the wrong amount of money, or why there's a deposit that's been missing for several days, or why my credit card fee percentage is suddenly growing month over month, right? It was 1.5%, 2%, 2.25%. What's going on? That's what my team needs to be doing. And that's where the true ROI comes in. Am I spending money on clerical tools, or am I spending money on true analysis?
And well, Gayle, we are wrapping up this interview, and I'm confident our listeners gain insights on ways to increase efficiency in their accounting department. I want to thank you, Gayle, again for coming on our radio show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
This is Sonia Luna, CEO and founder of Aviva Spectrum, signing off.